Okay, Nick addresses the latest smear from Wignats claiming he's in favor of birthright citizenship. It's tall poppy syndrome. Someone succeeds and they want to cut that person down.
Operation Wetback 2.0 sent $50. My feed was filled with Fuentes for birthright citizenship. Is that true? Separately, do you believe just because a Mexican was born here that they have a birthright? Mexicans were only 4% of the pop-up until 1970 and are the largest collective of welfare recipients, etc. A foreigner in the Bible is not determined by paperwork, but by blood.
Well, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. So
let's just look at this real quick here. Do you believe just because a Mexican was born here that they have birthright? I'm gonna poison the well. Okay, I'm gonna respond preemptively because I've already watched this. The answer to that question is essentially yes. This is what he said and what he got criticized for, because it's not that he's in favor of birthright citizenship, right? It's not like, oh, if you fly in for a visit and you give birth, now you're American and now you have an anchor baby or whatever. But that's not really. This is going to be like one of his main arguments is like, I didn't mean birthright citizenship. The fact is you said birthright, right? This question is not asking about citizenship. This question here is, do you think they have a birthright? And let's really steel man it. Let's not even talk like Mexicans. Okay. And what about Somalis and Haitians? So a Haitian and Somali family who migrated here legally 40 years ago, and then they had kids 20 years ago and they're citizens and their kids are citizens. Those Somalis and Haitians have America is their birthright. That's what he said. Now, there's a pragmatic aspect to this that we kind of touched on, and we'll get into it again, but it's not. And that's a hill I'll die on. I'll die on the hill that they're not Americans. And I'm not going to look them in the eye and be like, this nation is your birthright. I get what he's doing. You know, it's kind of like, hey man, like you need to fight for what's right too. You're here and there is a pragmatism to that. But I will never sign off on that language being used in that way. That is a hill I'll die on. It's just wrong. And Nick seems like he's willing to die on the hill that it is their birthright. And like I said this when I talked about it yesterday or whatever, but every time you take these kind of civ natty positions, you're just really positioning yourself to be the new Charlie Kirk in the worst possible way. Not in the good way of like you have a lot of influence, but in the bad way of you're like a roadblock now. I'm not saying Nick is. Nick is obviously a lot more race realist than Charlie Kirk ever was. I do think that what he said was a mistake, and that I wish he would just not get so defensive when people call him out on stuff like this. He's just being realistic. Yes, I agree. And again, I know he's not wrong in that sense either. He's not wrong. Like he's not wrong in the idea of we're going to get every single non-white deported out of America in our lifetime. It's like that's not going to happen. So these people are here. So the reality is they're here. And so we may as well have them doing good things instead of bad things or whatever. Like that's all 100% true and accurate and pragmatic in a good way. But I will not tell those people that America is their birthright. Like Zoomer Historian, from his tweet that I saw, which Nick mentions in this rant, said that an Anglo-Protestant in the UK, in Britain, who has never been to America is more American than like a third generation Somalian who's on their third generation of American citizenship. And I agree with that because it's in the blood. It's first and foremost in the blood. It has nothing to do with where you are born, and it has very little to do with what your values are or how you behave. Like, yeah, I would prefer all non-whites who have American citizenship. I would prefer them all to behave like civilized white people. And I prefer the ones who do behave that way to the ones who don't. But it's not in your blood. At the end of the day, it's just not. So the question has to be, what is an American? This is like the fun for the dissident right or whatever you want to call it these days. This is the question that we need. When Nick talks about circling the wagons, we need to circle the wagon on that question of what is an American. And if you're going to try to argue that it's Somalis and Haitians who have citizenship because they came here legally, we have a problem. We have a disagreement. Anyway, let's hear Nick now.
Show last week, we're talking about Israel first versus America first. And I said that Josh Hammer, his wife is Israeli. His kids are Israeli. I said, they're not even from here. I said, if you're from here, if you're born here, I said, this is your birthright. This is America.
Right. So again, I feel like I'm going to talk a lot and repeat myself, so I'm sorry, but I was not born in America. Now you can say, oh, LP, you can use that to criticize me. I just became a citizen like last fucking week. You know what I mean? So you can use that to criticize me and be like, shut the fuck up. You just because you got your piece of paper, you think you're one of us. But when I say like an Anglo-Protestant who's never been to America is more American than some whoever non-white, I mean that. And that's me. That is what is in my blood. I'm Anglo. So you don't have to agree with me, but there's no inconsistency here. There's no hypocrisy. I'm not like pro-immigration when it comes to me, but I'm pro-immigration when it comes to whites, and especially Anglo-Saxons, which are like the founding stock, genetically speaking. So I agree that Jews, whether they're born here or not, they're not part of the club. Like, I agree with that, but it's not, I don't like, and I'm really going to have to firmly disagree that it depends where you're born. Like, that Jews that are born in America are so much like Ben Shapiro is so much more American than Josh Hammer or whatever. I don't really think any of them are American personally.
And I saw,
right? So Ben Shapiro's born here and Josh Hammer wasn't. So what? What is the meaningful distinction though between the way they act and the way Jews act in general? I mean, I might be persona non grata here because Nick says in this clip that everybody who criticized him for that clip is dead to him. Which includes me, but again, this is like a hill I'll die on, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Nick. I'm not forgetting that Nick does have pro-white positions, that he's a race realist, all this kind of stuff that I like. But I do think this is important. I think this is something that if you can't give on it or the whole project falls apart. I'm not saying there's no way, shape, or form to work with non-white people. That would be silly. I would say that's silly. Some people do try to take a hard line like that. Not me, though. I'm not above pragmatism. I want to win. I do want to win. It really is a semantic argument at the end of the day, okay? I think Nick gets it. He knows what's up. He is not some Civnat retard, but all I'm doing is I'm in good faith saying, hey man, that language you used, we need to rethink the way we say these things. We're going to work with the nons to make America better. Fine. We can do that. Let's not make promises that we can't keep, such as this nation is your birthright. Let's not do that.
Ankle biters in the pro-white movement took that clip and they said, is Nick Fuentes endorsing birthright citizenship? Do you think that is the point of that clip? We're talking about America first versus Israel first. We're talking about...
It sort of is. Like, I understand birthright citizenship is a retarded policy, and I'm sure Nick doesn't support it. But you are saying that people who have legal citizenship, we're going to assume citizenship that was got through the normal channels, not through an anchor baby or whatever. But those people you're saying that they're American now. That's what you're saying. And that kind of like, that is really the crux of the issue, right? So it's not really about this legal doctrine of birthright citizenship. It's about who is an American? Who is really an American?
About people that literally are foreigners. They're foreign nationals, bossing us around, intimidating us, controlling our system. In this context, I said, if you're born in America, if you're a citizen, this is your birthright. And people, their interpretation of that is, oh, so anchor babies own America? Really? That's what you got from that? Me telling people Americans should take pride in being American, that's what you got out of that?
I don't even think, honestly, I don't even think this was really the main criticism that people had. The main criticism was that when you say things like, I don't care what color you are, that is quintessential CivNat philosophy. Didn't Nick and Keith, didn't they come out and criticize BAP for his colorblind thing? I know Keith did. Keith like wrote a whole thing about it. Didn't Nick also though comment on like BAP being like, we need to just have colorblind meritocracy? When you say, I don't care what color you are, it's the exact same thing. From what I understand, and from my personal perspective, this is the real critique here. It's not like, oh, you support birthright citizenship. That feels like a straw man. That feels like a straw man of what people are saying, which is like, what do you mean you don't care what color people are? When did that happen? So we're just a colorblind meritocracy now?
That heard it that way were like so-called white nationalists. Isn't that amazing?
It means when it comes to pushing to the side of Israel first crowd, which is the context here, all Americans can be American first. Yeah, I agree. I agree, but you can say that without saying this is your birthright. You can say that without saying hey, second generation Somalian, America is your birthright. You can say what you said without saying, hey, Haitian guy who just finished the legal citizenship paperwork a week ago. This is your birthright now. This nation is your birth. You don't have to say that part. That's the point. So I agree with what you said. I agree that everybody is here can be America first, regardless of the race, and that it would be better if they were. We all agree with that. But I don't like the use of the term birthright, and I think it bristled a lot of people's feathers for a valid reason. It's just kind of like, it's a bit much. It's one thing to pander to the nons, but we don't have to, you know what I mean? We don't have to worship blacks or whatever. I'm joking, but you know what I mean? It's like Trump. It's like Trump being like, hey man, we're going to hook me up with Ice Cube and we'll figure out how to fix black people. It's like, you know, we don't need all that. We don't need to go that far with it.
Because I haven't proven that I'm pro-white. Like, I do a show every night. I was at Charlottesville. I opposed Donald Trump in the election because he wasn't in favor of an immigration moratorium. I'm against Donald Trump because he's not deporting enough people. I say this every night. And they took this little loophole semantic thing and said, oh, so I guess he's in favor. And you know, this is why I have a real problem with a lot of white nationalists. It's not because of what they believe. It's because of how they act, which is, shouldn't you be supporting me? Like, isn't this a time when our people should be circling the wagons around each other? Like, there's this all-out attack from the Republican Jewish Coalition, from Mark Levin, from, like, we're in the battle over American sovereignty. Shouldn't you people who are supposed to be pro-white, like, I'm not pro-white enough suddenly? In what way? Because of a semantic way that you interpreted that?
Right. Quasar Goon says people who have been in this for a decade are very weary of seeing somebody get big and then go CivNat. And so again, we're once bitten, twice shy, right? Try to see it from our perspective. We're once bitten, twice shy. And it's like, okay, well, that was a little bit loosey-goosey with the wording. Can we just get that in check? Because we don't want to see it keep, you know what I mean? Like there's been other things. It wasn't just that in a vacuum either. He goes and he talks to Dave Smith and he says, some of the greatest Americans are Jews or whatever. It's like, you know, I'm sure that's defensible. And then he says, oh, don't dress up as a Nazi. That's oralist. What are you doing? That's super cringe. And it's like, this and then that and then that, and it's like, Nick, please, man, don't go mainstream, but don't completely lose the message in the process. And then the other thing that people have been saying is like, oh, well, you don't get 50,000 viewers, so why don't you shut the fuck up until you do, or what? And it's like, yeah, that's That's true, but it's like, look, man, people like Devin Stack and Asha Logos and Arvel, they're not nobodies. They're not people who have done nothing. They've been doing the work day in and day out for years. You know what I mean? Even me, sure, I don't stream to 50,000 people. I stream to 400. Okay, it's not impressive. But do you know how many Twitter impressions I've gotten on my racist memes? I've literally have billions and billions. They don't do more than a year of history on Twitter.
$3 I forgive Nick.
Yes. I mean, I don't even think there's really anything to forgive, but I wish he would try to listen to people's criticism a little less defensively, because I don't think these criticisms are just total bad faith trash. I don't think it's just ankle biting jealousy. I reject that characterization.
And they use it as an opportunity to attack me, to one-up me, and score a point and say, oh.
It's not 6,000 Twitter viewers. That number's fake. But I mean, I have millions and millions of views over the course of my career on my videos and shit. And like I said, like billions. And so it's like, you know what I mean? People are like, oh, shut the hell up until you've done something. I mean, no offense, little Groiper bro, but I've probably done more than you. You're not Nick, you know what I mean? I know you want to live vicariously through the guy, but actually I have done more than the average Groiper. And so has Devin Stack, and so has Asha Logos and Zoomer Historian. I like Nick and I like all these people, and I'm sure, like, look, and I understand why Nick is defensive too, because he gets so much stupid shit, man, nonstop. Honestly, I would, like, I don't know. I guess the money's too good to quit, but it's like, I don't know how he puts up with it. Like the endless, like, you're gay, you're a fed, cat boy. You know what I mean? I would be pretty defensive. I mean, I am defensive. So I get it. I understand it. But this is a kind of a fair criticism. Maybe not everybody worded it in the most friendly way, but it doesn't mean they're totally wrong.
Little clip. Yeah, I like Nick, but this was no good. Really? And so everybody that did that is dead to me. So I saw Devin Stack say that. I saw Asha Logo say that. Eric Arvel is DMing me saying, are you against birthright citizenship in DMs? Really? How are you going to be pro-white? You're not even going to support me.
This is also, not to nitpick, but isn't like DMing a guy privately to, like, for clarification? The birthright citizen, it is kind of stupid to be like, you support birthright citizenship. Like I would, if I was going to DM Nick about this, which I wouldn't, I never bug him about anything if I can help it. The only thing I bug him about is trying to get him on the show. But I would never. Isn't it like how, like, he didn't publicly do anything? Orville didn't tweet about it. He just messaged him and said, what did you mean this? And then Nick just has to say no.
How are you?
Like, that just doesn't seem that bad to me. Isn't that how we're supposed to solve problems? If we're on the same side, as hashing it out in private, if we can.
White people and, ecumenical pro-white politics, you're going to throw me under the bus? I'm not being attacked by enough people. I'm being attacked by...
Right, yeah, the Mexican thing, that's just another thing that people can never shut up about. So I understand the frustration with Wignats, because that's like that's exactly the kind of thing that would make a guy like Nick hate Wignats, is the constant thing about you're brown, you're Mexican, you know? I get it.
Literally everybody. I'm being attacked by Mark Levin. I even told Tucker to his face. I said, we have to be pro-white. I said those.
That's true. He did say that. I was glad he said that.
Words. I said, we need to be pro-white. We need to talk about white people. I am pro-white. And the so-called white nationalist crew, rather than circling the wagons to defend me and what I thought, even after I was nice to...
It's weird how he's getting so worked. Well, they really hammered him on Twitter. Like, they really... Everybody threw in their 2 cents about this. But that's because it was kind of like... It was a bit sketchy, Nick. It was a bit, the more complex the idea is and the more controversial the idea is, the more it behooves you to really be careful how you word it. Let us not forget that he preempted the statement with people on my side are not going to like this. So he himself understood that he was getting into dangerous territory. And yet he said it in this very sort of provocative way when he said, you know, this is your birthright. That was probably not the best choice of words.
Marvel, even after I had him,
Oh, I have no idea what Devin actually said.
or I went on his show, they're taking the piss. They're gonna ankle bite. They're gonna try to score a point. No, I'm not in favor of fucking. If I say you're a citizen, I'm talking about, obviously, we should not be afraid to say that we're citizens, we're Americans. It goes without saying that birthright citizenship is not legitimate. That should go without saying. Should we have to?
See, I agree with that point, but again, I just feel like the whole birthright citizenship thing is a straw man. Although if Arvel really I guess I can see where he's coming from. I'm kind of surprised that people would really think that's what he meant. So I don't blame him for being annoyed at that. But from what I saw on Twitter, that wasn't really what people thought.
Put an asterisk there. When I say citizens, I mean, you know, people that are actually citizens. Not, you know what I mean by that. So that was really disappointing and really sad and really pathetic. And I'm disappointed how few of them defended me. You know, not a peep out of, did I get a peep out of any of these guys? I've defended many of them. Any of them defend me? I don't want to name certain names, but like, holy smokes, it's really sad. This is why I never liked a lot of them. I never got along with them because they're resentful and spiteful. It's not what they believe. I came out of that milieu on right-wing Twitter, but it's like, it's a tall poppy syndrome. It's like someone succeeds, someone starts to make an impact, and then they want to cut that person down and just say, oh, well, you know. So that was a totally dishonest reading. I mean, literally, and I'll just say it once more. The clip on Friday, which I'm referring to, I said, if you're born in America, this is your birthright. We're citizens. This is our country. And they said, oh, so he supports birthright citizenship now. It's like, that is such a dishonest, like, talk about a semantic, trivial little thing. So
I agree it's semantic. I disagree that it's trivial. Again, if you steel man what he's saying, it's a Haitian who came here 40 years ago, went through the citizenship process, had a kid, that America is the birthright of that guy's children. Does Nick even believe that himself? Somalis? We watched a clip yesterday of Somalis at some rally chanting, like, we're here for, right? They were probably all born. There's like a bunch of kids. Remember the rally? They're all, let's steel man it here. Hold on. And so
we are all here today uplifting one another.
Presumably this gang of niglets. Am I allowed to say that? Presumably they were born in America. And so is America their birthright? And is it their birthright just because they're born here, or does it matter what they do and what they want? Because it seems like what these guys want is to turn America into Somalia.
Because we believe in Somalia. We believe in unity. That's why we are here today. So to that I say, make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure that you are engaged for the next few months. I will need a lot of volunteers to help me knock doors.
He's daydreaming about being up on a pirate ship right now, shooting people with an AK-47. And look at this
signatures,
one.
And I will need all of
I want to get bad for bullying. Oh, and then this guy's literally the "How did you know I was Somali" meme. So is America their birthright? Because I feel like that's going to be a problem for me. I feel like I can't agree with that.
Dishonest. Rather than see the bigger picture and give me the benefit of the fucking doubt, if ever there was a person or a time to do that and circle the wagons and say, he's right, this is about America first. No, Zoomer historian was another one. No, let's dunk. Let's dunk on him, because that's really helpful.
But again, I thought Zoomer historian, I thought he made a really good point, which is why I brought up his thing, because it really like hammers it home that it's not about where you are born. It's not about what piece of paper you have. It's about the blood. Let's take a look. I'm more American by default due to being European and especially Anglo. Exactly. Whereas the person who's applying to who's little brown, I'm more American than you, and I've never stepped foot in America. See, I agree with that. I guess that's the one I was thinking of. Oh yeah. This is because this guy's like a brown, and he's like happy Nick said this. This guy's a gay fat brown dude. I kind of like him. I kind of like Basil, but objectively, he's a gay fat brown dude, and he's like, I'm sick and tired of the dissident LARPing. Anyone who says I'm not American is either foreign, a lemming, or completely lost in the sauce. You can't even get rid of illegals, but you're going to revoke my birth certificate, LOL. And then Zoomer says, I'm more American than you, and I've never stepped foot in America. See, I believe this. I don't know what Zoomer said to Nick or what Nick is referencing, but I believe this because I believe that it's in the blood.
Productive. We need to take down Nick Fuentes so that some other guy can go on a generational run, and, you know, we'll wait for some other person to get influence and impact and get a platform, someone who deserves it.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the people criticizing you have never liked you, and they're just looking for, and they do want to take you down. But there people like me, we just want you to succeed. It is good faith criticism, and we want you to succeed. And that there's certain things that can't be compromised on, otherwise it will never be success. That's where I'm coming from.
Fuck you. You're dead to me. All those people that did that, fuck you. I will never help. No one should ever help them either, because that's how it's repaid, clearly, you know? And I feel that way about other people that I won't mention, and I don't hate all of them, but I'm never going to help them again for that reason. Disgusting.
So we may never get Nick on the progress report, you guys. I'm sorry. He said maybe in November, which I never actually expected that to happen. Like, he's clearly got way better things to do for the rest of his life. So I'm not even that torn up about it, because I don't think it was ever going to happen at this point anyway. But I mean, I'll still try at some point. But you know, I'm in the blacklist club. What's the progress report? Yeah, good question.